taught us to appreciate a job well done. If you're going to kill each other, do it outside. I just finished cleaning. Mom taught us logic. If you fall out of that swing and break your neck, you're not going to the store with me. More logic. Because I said so. That's why. Mom taught us foresight. Make sure you wear clean underwear. You know the rest, in case you have an accident. Mom taught us irony. Keep crying and I'll give you something to cry about. Mom taught us about the science of osmosis. Shut your mouth and eat your supper. Mom taught us about stamina. Sit there until all that spinach is gone. Mom taught us about the weather. This room of yours looks as if a tornado went through it. Mom taught us medical science. If you don't stop crossing your eyes, they're going to get stuck that way. Mom taught us wisdom. When you get to be my age, you'll understand. Mom taught us about justice. One day you'll have kids, and I hope they turn out just like you. Today, the meditation will be given by Kat Miller, who is also our speaker next week. With your help, I'd like to create an energetic container that will hold all of us for this few moments of sitting quietly together. I need your help with this. My part is naming the threads that make up this energetic container, and your part, if you choose, is to weave them together in your heart. So if you would just close your eyes, if you feel comfortable doing that, that way you can shift your attention into your inner awareness. We sit together today with a panorama of experience of moms. Just by our sheer numbers alone, we know that some of us had nurturing, loving moms. Some of us were abused by our moms. Some of us were supported and encouraged. Most of us who are over 70, our mothers have died. Some of us have never forgiven our mothers. Some of us see our mothers when we look in the mirror or in the smile that lights up on our own face when happy. Some of us never met our mothers or had an adult experience of them as they died when we were young. Some of us give our mothers credit for the good that we have become or blame for what feels broken in our lives. We also sit here as mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, stepmothers, foster mothers, adoptive mothers. All the men are sons. Most of the men are brothers and husbands to mothers. Please take a moment to include any threads of experience that I did not include, any roles that I did not include. Gently fill it in now. Now let's sit together quietly for the next 2 minutes in this energetic container we are weaving that includes all of our experience and our various roles around mothers. By being together this way, we have a new opportunity to be with ourselves and each other freshly, maybe even compassionately, as well as celebratory. I'll let you know when the time is up. just take the next moment or two to open your eyes and take a nice breath, maybe wiggle around a bit. Thank you. Most of our mothers raised us at least part of the time alone and during the scarcity of war years. They exercised a certain toughness of character. For the first time, it was patriotic for them to take jobs outside the home and fill gaps in the workplace left when men went away to fight. Today, we will hear from 4 presenters, each of whom will talk briefly about their mothers. We'll be doing similar profiles for dads on Father's Day, June 16th. Our first presenter today is Rosemary Dineen, who speaks of her mother's courage during difficult times and asks of all of us the probing question, can we ever really know our mother, or did we ever know her? Rosemary was raised in Dayton, Ohio. She's a mother of 4 who left a 32-year marriage and started her own business, the Peter the Great Coat Company in St. Petersburg, Russia. She moved lakeside 4 years ago and is author of a book of poems entitled Welcome to the Unknown. Rosemary Dineen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the opportunity. I also want to thank Neil James for providing the late Chapala Society and for Open Circle that gives us all the space to be who we really are. And for the constancy of Margaret and now John Nelson and Jim Spivey. Thank you for your talented leadership. I'm also overwhelmed by the fact that each of us in this space today came here one way and one way only, through a woman's body. It's a very overwhelming thought. Mother, why is your name different from your mother's? As a result of my mother's decision made when she was a young woman back in the 1920s, everything about my life was different from others. My mother's life remains mostly a series of questions for me. Why did she marry my father? Like her sisters? Because he had money and was a doctor? Not uncommon for women then. And who could fault them? How often and hard did he beat her? How many wives were beaten? A common practice. Where did she find the courage to leave her marriage? Why didn't her 4 sisters take us into their affluent homes? How did she feel about putting her 3 young children in an orphanage? How often did she come to visit us? Driving for 2 hours in her black Dodge from Xenia to Columbus, Ohio. How did she feel when she drove away? Did she ever think of leaving us in the orphanage forever? How was she able to cope with all the challenges that occurred after she took us back? After living for 3.5 years alone, now she had a family of 4 to care for and to support. None of these questions will ever be answered. When I asked my mother at age 52, I would like to know more about my childhood. She slammed the door of her mind shut hard. You know more than most people know about their childhood. I'm not sure where and when I learned to be respectful, but I did and still do believe in respecting elders. And when my mother did not answer my questions, I never asked her again. Too much pain to pull up the memories of her past. Maybe my brother or sister was interested. I have always been a curious person and remain so today. When I hear friends speak of their childhoods, extended family gatherings, and of knowing their neighbors, I become fully aware of how exceptional my childhood was. No men ever entered our doorway. My grandparents had all died, and before I was born, and no uncles or cousins came to visit from Columbus, only 2 hours away from Dayton. No matter where we lived, a woman with a college degree, teaching school, raising her children alone, she was unique. As a child, I never felt unique. I was just Rosie and had been blessed with a cheerful, optimistic personality. My mother remained unemotional through her life. No great joy, no laughter, and no sorrow. I only remember her reading the Ladies' Home Journal and McCall's magazines and relating those stories to me. There was time for a full-length novel. I wonder, did other women have friends? My mother only had 2 that I can recall, and they never entered our house. After 32 years of teaching home economics at Oakland High School, she retired, the only teacher who had children. Another loneliness, she must have thought. No one to share her burdens with. This welcome freedom allowed her to travel, and travel she did, to South America and Africa. I wonder, how did it feel to be free of all this responsibility of raising 3 children alone, the burden she had carried for so many years? In her 70s, my mother made the decision to move to Houston, where her oldest child, her son Leonard, lived with his wife and 9 children. A good decision, a little after that. There were a lot of immaculate conceptions during that era. Does anybody want to hold up their hand to have an immaculate conception? A good decision, as she had many visitors to Trayvine Manor, with all the grandchildren and in-laws taking turns visiting. I often wonder, did she share any of her past with them? When I left my marriage at age 57, my mother continued to exercise her control with writing me an inexplicable letter, speaking of how wrong my decision was. When the second letter arrived, I did not open it. I had learned to take care of myself. I love anybody who knows. Another question I have, why did she not want me or any of her daughters to come to Houston to visit? I did not obey her wishes. I did come to visit, will be dying soon. It would be nice if you would write her and tell her, being specific, what kindness she granted you in your lifetime. With the practice of calling my mother weekly, I learned her say, "You think I was dying the way all your children are writing me." She died 2 weeks later. If Mother doesn't want a memorial service, then we won't have one. Words from my older sister Betty, never anyone to be reckoned with. I seem to be the only one who knew memorial services were for the living, not the dead. But once again, Mother's wishes were granted. Now in Ajijic, I frequently ask friends and strangers alike, do you think you ever knew your mother as a person? Most often the answer is no. Maybe it is best if we only remember our mothers as mothers and only remember the good. Now I would ask a big favor. I know that many of you say you can't sing. I will not buy it. Ask God right now to give you a tune. I love it. There's somebody over there bent over with laughter. Now I know also that many of you learned this when you were very young. I learned it in junior high. So please join with me. M is for the million things she gave me. O means only that she's growing old. T is for the tears she shed to save me. H is for her heart of purest gold. E is for her eyes of love light shining. R means right, and right she'll always be. Put them all together, they spell mother, the word that means the world to me. Thank you, Bella.
That was beautiful. Thank you very much, Rosemary.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker is writer Michael Cook, author of The Diamond Formation. Michael was born in Cunningham, a village in the county of Yorkshire, England. He retired early. I know there may be another one somewhere. He retired early to focus on writing and has lived in Mexico for nearly 8 years. His second novel, A Body of Work, is close to publication. Michael Cook.
I'm switched on. I'd just like to say it's great to be here. I have a Yorkshire accent, so I'm going to slow things down so you can catch what I'm saying. I'd just like to say if my mother was here today, she'd be 95, and it's my father's birthday today, and he would have been 105. So anyway, this is my story. When Margaret asked me if I would do this presentation, my immediate response was no, because when you hear what I have to say, you might understand the reason why. Mother's Day. I'm going to open with a quotation from Jean-Paul Sartre, French existentialist and surrealist. And the quotation is, "Death is a continuation of my life without me." This was the legacy that my mother gifted me, which has become a yoke around my neck. Have you ever held a loved one in your arms and watched them die, how did it feel? I held my mother in my hand. She was as light as a snowflake when she melted away because of cancer. I held her for over 4 hours, wishing every second that she would die. I'm no longer a religious man, but I often to this day ask myself, is it righteous for a woman who caused no pain to have died in a living hell? What therefore awaits cannot be worse than this, if the powers decree. I saw bones wrapped in skin. Muscle had long deserted this failing body. The last gargle from her lungs and the mightiest squeeze of my hand spoke volumes for my childhood and adulthood. It was mainly silent. Her name was Veronica Magdalene Cook, and I loved her. And I love her every day that is my life. Before I was born, my life as a son was already being mapped out. My mum lived in Hull on the East Yorkshire coast. It was a port city that was under constant bombing from the Germans during the war. Mum was evacuated to a small town in West Yorkshire called Blubberhouses, where she worked in a munitions factory. I think this was the start of her life of depression. She lost 3 fingers in a machinery accident. She was young, vibrant, good-looking. She never went out in public again without wearing gloves. As a child, I remember vividly on Sundays her putting on these pristine white lace gloves for church. These were the good days for me and my sister Anne-Marie. Being bathed in winter in a tin bath in front of a roaring coal fire, then snuggled in a fluffy towel before going to bed. After the bath, we would hide in the deep cupboard in the sideboard, or as you Americans would call it, a hutch. Mum would search the house looking for us. We thought it was so funny. I am sure now that she never ever moved out of the living room, but just pretended to look for us. These were the formative years and the days that made me happy, asking all the time the reason why, and not being satisfied with the answer. Mother's son love is unconditional, but yet, when what I call the tummy years arrived, it only seemed to work one way. I call them the tummy years because it was one cancer after another that wreaked havoc on my mum physically and mentally. I wrote about this cancer, and I called it I Will Kiss It Better, because that's what mums do when you scrub your knee or your head. It was breast cancer and required a double mastectomy. It was a Sunday when I heard my mum crying in the bedroom. Her chest was exposed, yet there was nothing there but fired flesh and various shades of red and pink. I put my arm around her and said, "Don't worry, Mum. Anne-Marie does not have them, and anyway they will grow back." So I did what my mum would do, and I kissed them better. What followed after that was a cancerous uterus requiring a hysterectomy and then a colonectomy. My life was changing and I was only 8 years old. The fear took her life from me as she deteriorated mentally. I was growing up faster in those years, which should never be allowed for one so young. And the stupid questions started to become adult ones. Seeing your mum collapse on the floor with the oven door open and the smell of gas, you ask not the reason why, but if she loved me, why? I love Mum, but it was not good enough. So therefore I must try harder not to let this happen again. I remember her going away to a hospital. This was to become a recurring theme over many, many years. I tried to make her happy. I had a paper round that would spend all my money on chocolate for us, and I would rest my head on her lap, and we would just enjoy mother and son time, watching Sunday nights at the London Palladium. On school days I looked so forward to coming home, thinking to myself that Mum might be a little better today. I became an expert very quickly at hiding my disappointment. when I used to see her sat in a chair, rocking backwards and forwards, circling her thumbs round and round. Never a word spoken to welcome me home, but I still loved her. She was my mum. It seemed hit and miss with the medications and the side effects that they would give after so many surgeries. During those years, Mum was institutionalised. My sister and I were told that she was in hospital, and we would be found out to relatives because my father worked shifts. But as we entered our teenage years, we would get to visit Mum in the mental hospital. It was a Victorian building, not purpose-built. Its original use was an army barracks. This was my first introduction to what I call the lost but seldom found. It was a depressing place for depressed people and mentally ill people. What better environment to help? Little did I realise at this time how much of a profound effect my childhood and adolescence, and latterly my adult life, was given to asking the reason why. My father always thought I would be an engineer, because any toy I was given, I would dismantle and put it back together. My mum, on the other hand, forgive the pun, used to say when she was feeling better that I had healing hands. The two things that my mum gave to me was creativity and altruism, the latter being a destructive force in my life. Creativity, on the other hand, came from spending time in an empty house devoid of conversation most of the time. Yet the question why was never answered, that being what was my mum thinking about when she was suffering. The older I became, the thought of losing her to suicide was nearly always at the forefront of my mind. I knew by the time I was 16 what I needed to do, and that was to fix people like my mum, and find out by dismantling them what caused them not to work. Just like an overwound clock, the spring sometimes gets overstretched. I wanted to know what made people tick. So to university and a degree in psychology. I see now vividly the influence in my life that my mother's silent well gave me. But the love we gave is not often shared in equal measure, or to a degree that reassures us that just a little is sometimes good enough. As a child, we do not have the capacity to compare a mother's love. It is an acceptance that we take as being normal in our lives. Realization comes with the maturity of years, and the old adage of to give is better than to receive does not wash with me now. We all have our expectations and aspirations in life. I never knew what my mother's were, only that she gave me the gift of creativity. I have now come to my own conclusions over time that gave me the answer to the question why. It came out of a conversation one day with my sister. It was a eureka moment, you might say, for me as we talked about Mum. My sister recalled that even up to her death, she never heard Mum say, "I love you," not even when she tucked us into bed. A simple phrase, but with devastating effect. The unsaid was taken as a given, and the question never arose because I loved her, and she in her own way loved me. I took this altruism into my adult life, thinking that at some point, that what I gave would be returned when I needed it. How wrong I was, but that's another story. The one thing I remember that has stayed with me was that my mother was a fighter, especially with the cancers and the pain. But I believe her biggest fight was within inside her head. She wanted to live and be well, but mentally her thoughts became suicidal towards the end. A constant battle between the physical and the mental. At the time I could not imagine having the sword of Damocles hovering over my head every day, wondering if just a simple cough was a sign of something more serious. I never in a million years expected my mum to outlive my father, so she did. After Mum died, we could have, if we ever wanted, had access to her psychiatric notes and records. Anne-Marie and I declined. For me, I drew my own conclusions to this life of misery. The question why was answered. So for me to stand here today is not a celebration of my mother, because as I said at the beginning, Death is a continuation of my life without me. My mother lives in me, and so does my father, because they made me who I am today.
Thank you, Michael. Our third speaker is Jeritza McCarter, best known in these parts as the queen of everything. She's an actress who had her first paid job at the age of 5 in a production with Helen Hayes entitled When Ladies Meet. She's been acting ever since on stages in various parts of the world where she lived with her husband, Robert McCarter. She's also started up theaters along the way, wherever needed, such as our own marvelous, minimalist, naked stage here in Ajijic. She and her husband Robert settled lakeside 12 years ago, and he passed away some 8 years ago. Thank you, Jeritza.
Did it work? Oh, there it is. I hear something. I hear me. How is it now? Okay, happy Mother's Day. I'm going to tell you a little something about my mother. She was a little bit different than you probably experienced in your lifetime. My big daddy, her father, was a doctor, and my big mama, her mother, was a wonderful socialite lady in a very good Southern family. And my father was Norwegian, and he had come down from New York to do business with my grandfather. Very charming man, I understand. Quite old, in his late 50s. And he was doing business with my big daddy. He was charming enough to have a little something with my mother, and here I am. It was a scandal in a family like ours. My mother was sent away and brought back to the Masonic Hospital in El Paso, where my grandfather, who was a Mason and a Shriner, was there as I was born, to do something about it so that it would not be a scandal in the family. Unfortunately, I was born with red hair. Or fortunately, because he loved red hair and I was the apple of his eye. He and Big Mama raised me while my mother left to form a career in the theater. We were a theater family and a family of literature. We just loved it. And she became very, very successful, not as an actress. She could not act her way out of a paper bag, no kidding. But she could direct, and she could select the people to be in the theater. She was very well known, made lots and lots of money, and had a great deal of respect. She was a play doctor, would be sent all over, because a play would be doing very well, very, very successful. And all at once, it wasn't working. The audience wasn't reacting. It had caught a virus or a bacteria. And the stage manager, the director was there, they couldn't, the author, they just couldn't figure it out. So they would call my mother. Her rule was that no one was allowed to know that she was viewing the performances except for the stage manager. And she almost always found the problem. It was boredom with the job, so she would call the author and ask if she and the stage manager could be given permission to change some of the lines, to put the magic, to put the fear back into the actors, because that's what you gotta have. When you're an actor, you gotta be afraid. And they would just become too accustomed. Or she would follow them after a performance to listen to the conversation for mealtime afterwards. And she learned that there was something backstage that was going on, trouble, fights, that was causing the illness of the production. And I don't know how she took care of that, but anyway, she usually left most of them back to normal again. But I would like to tell you what my mother did for me. I went to live with her when I was 4 years old. And her name was Geraldine Farrar Davis, Davis being her first last name, but certainly not her last name. She was an extremely beautiful woman, beyond belief. She had auburn hair, olive skin, and purple eyes, with long black eyelashes, and a beautiful body. And she was easily bored, so nobody lasted very long. And I got used to that. Everybody was very nice to me except for one man, and he didn't last very long at all. I was very fortunate in having, from the day I was born until I was 11 years old, a nanny. Her name was, is this okay? Her name was Bertha, and she was black, and she lived with us, and she traveled with us everywhere, New York, London, France, and she was the family. And she raised me according to my mother's wishes, which was freedom. Freedom as a woman. I was about 4 and a half, and my mother called me into her room, her bedroom, which actually was like the Queen's palace. And she said, Jeritza, I'm having a very private talk with you, and you must not tell other people, because most people are afraid outside our front door. They're afraid by governments, they're afraid by religion, they're afraid by things that they've been told by their family, or their friends, or their teachers. But I am telling you, you must doubt everything you hear. Everything you hear, most everything you read, and if you see it, well, maybe it's true, but have doubt. But she said, I will tell you one thing, if anyone should ever touch you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, be it staff, be it family, be it friends, or be it strangers, you come to me immediately, and I will believe you, and I will take care of it. I sort of knew what she was talking about. And I gotta tell you, I was a cute kid. I really was. I wasn't beautiful like my mother, but I had my charm. And never in my life was I ever molested in any way by anybody. And believe me, we had a lot of funny people around being in the theater. And I know what it was. She gave me a dome of protection that shone through me, that don't touch me, or my mama gets you. And she would. And I'm going to tell you something that's going to upset some of you, but this was my mother, and I'm damn proud of her, because she was wonderful. She was a feminist. She believed that women had more of a role in government, and she had more of a role in household saying, and more religion, more role in starting religions without teaching hate or fear. But that didn't come to pass. But nonetheless, she called me into her room and she said, Jeritza, there are certain places on your body which will give you great pleasure when you touch them. Now, outside that front door, the majority, most of the people believe that that is a sin, from religion or their parents or whatever. How could it be when you've been made by the great universe? There is nothing sinful about your body. So you will find these places and enjoy them in the privacy of your room or the bathroom. And don't tell anyone outside this door, because everybody else besides us believes that pleasuring yourself is a sin. Well, it's not a sin. It's just something they want to take away from you to be afraid. And I know that that's controversial, but I don't care. I believe what my mother said. My mother also said there'll be no prejudice in this house, except two. Prejudiced against prejudiced and prejudice against stupidity and cruelty, and those things count as one. You must not ever judge anyone on the color of their skin, their race, their religion, or their ethnic background. You take one person at a time, and you judge them by what they are and you are. And that's the only way in the world that you can find out how wonderful people are all over this world. Do not live in fear, and do not hate, unless you really have something to hate, like governments. Her opinion of governments was this: all governments are wonderful. They don't work. And the reason why they don't work is because people will give up their freedom to be taken care of. I got 2 minutes to tell you something else about this wonderful woman. She loved me. I was an only child. And she gave me freedom. I will tell you one thing. She was tough. I was an actress, and I could read and write. I couldn't do math, but that was all right. Because she said, you can hire somebody to do your numbers, and you probably wouldn't have your dinner. But she saw that I passed through that problem in my school because I was reading at the age of 3, and I was learning lines at the age of 4. I was not stupid, I was reading books. So she backed me up. But she did say that there is an energy in each one of us, and you cannot destroy energy. You cannot destroy it. You can change it, but you can't destroy it. So she said, Jeritza, when I go and you go, and all of us go, that particular energy, that is you, leaves your animal body. She really thought we ought to be eating each other because it's just wasted food. We're just animals. I sort of agree with her. A lot of people starve. There's a lot of food around. But she said, when that energy leaves your body, she says, now mine's here, I think yours here, some people's are there. Doesn't make any difference where they are when they leave. The energy goes on to become something else. And I know that my husband's energy went on, and as soon as I pass, my energy is going out looking for him. I know what he's been up to, because I know my husband. And I would very much like to see my mother again, but as she said, people change, things change. And maybe in our next life, you will be my mother, and you won't be near as good as I am. Thank you very much.
Not on. Now on. Ooh, scares me sometimes. Thank you so much, Jeritza. What a mother and what a daughter. Our final speaker is storyteller and historian Arnt Thorkildsen, son of a Norwegian fisherman. He is a man of few but choice words, and that is all I can say of him. A man of some mystery, too.
Good morning to all of you. I think that this morning one has to be impressed by the sincerity and the honesty of the 3 people who have opened their hearts and their souls to share some memories about their mothers. I am impressed by everyone. Before I came down here this morning, I just read on the internet that 78,000 people have volunteered for the mission to Mars. I hope that they are all former contestants on the Maury Povich show, Judge Judy and Jerry Springer. After seeing these shows, one can only surmise that they must be from outer space. I would like to tell you a personal story this morning before I begin. Next month, I'm going to Seattle for my 60th high school reunion. And I started thinking back over those last 60 years. There were 640 of us in the class. Some I never knew, and so many have now passed away. A few I have kept in contact with over these many years. Over these 60 years, I have met a lot of people, and I have seen a lot of faces. Some I still recall, but most have come and gone through my life like ships passing in the night. When I last spoke at Open Circle on March 30th, I mentioned the fact that my father had sailed on a four-master from Dublin, Ireland, with a load of coal to Portland, Oregon, and then on to Valparaiso, Chile. On this ship was a cabin boy by the name of Louis Larson. The captain asked my father to look out for Louis, show him the ropes, and take care of him. And now, as Paul Harvey, the radio commentator, used to say, now for the rest of the story. Both my father and Louis Larson returned to Norway and then years later emigrated to America. Both eventually settled in Seattle. Little did they know in 1915 that 60 years later they would meet again. My father died on April 9, 1976, and was buried on April 14th. The man who officiated at the funeral was the little cabin boy, Louis Larson. Mom, Mama, Ma, Mother, so many names for the most important person in your life, your mother. We all have one and could not have come into this world without one. My mother's name was Gerda Elizabeth. She was born in a little town in southern Norway in 1898. In 1921, she married my father, Ludwig Bernhard. My father was a seaman, and every time he returned from a trip and coming back to America, he had another son. 5 boys, and Mama had so wished for just one little girl. There is a song, "Oh, my papa, to me he was so wonderful. Oh, my papa." Now change those words. Change it to, "Oh, my mama, to me she was so wonderful. To me she was so good." Richard Nixon once said my mother was a saint, and I feel the same way about mine. My mother was good to me, and she was good to all of us, to all people. My mother was not born with a silver spoon, and more than likely, neither was yours. Her father was also a seaman. They had a small house with a barn and 1 cow. She had 2 brothers, one who became a missionary to Madagascar and then a pastor in Oslo. I recall how happy she had been when they got electricity and she no longer had to carry the lantern out to the barn to milk the cow at night. In 1915, after a large storm, my mother and a cousin were at the seashore raking in kelp. The kelp was then burned and the ashes sold to make iodine. 10 cents for a kilo. A photographer came by and took their picture. That photo is now in a book called Mother Norway, and the photo also hangs in a museum in Oslo. In 1984, during a trip back to Norway, a friend took me to the community center. A mural had been painted on 3 of the 4 walls, and in the center of the large mural was a painting of that picture showing my mother raking kelp. I recall my mother's smile when I came for lunch, and her tears when she told me that she had Parkinson's disease. My mother always spoke Norwegian, and I always answered her in English. She told me how funny-looking cars were to her when she first saw one, but little did she know that 30 years later, she would be the proud owner of a green 1950 Dodge sedan that she crashed many times, including running into the front porch of our house at 1220 North 44th Street in Seattle. She was arrested by the Gestapo in 1945 for dealing on the black market. She never hated the Germans, but she would not allow my father to bake for them, so twice a week the Germans took over the bakery to bake their dark bread. German was then spoken in the bakery. My parents had bought the only store in town in 1932. Mama ran the store, and my father returned from America to run the bakery. A nickel here and a dime there. Enough to feed 7 people 3 times a day, and then sell everything you had and emigrate to America. The war years were not happy years. We had our problems, but most German soldiers were decent people. She never had any regrets about leaving Norway and said she should have come 30 years before. When she arrived in New York on January 1947, my mother was a little chunky. My parents had converted everything they had into American dollars, and my mother's brassiere and girdle was stuffed full. She was a walking cash register and did not want to be searched by United States Customs. My mother was frugal. She had a little savings account, but also would hide a few hundred under the mattress. I would then ask, "Do you have any more?" And she would look at me funny and say, "Well, look behind the mirror." And in Papa's overcoat in the closet. She would hide this money for just in case. When Margaret asked me to speak today, I wondered if I could do it or if I wanted to. The last time I spoke about my mother was at her funeral 24 years ago. And I still wonder, as some of the previous speakers have said, did I really know, or how much did I know about my mother? I've told you a few things today about my mother, not much, just a little. But the one thing I do regret is not knowing her better. And one has to ask, what really were her dreams, her fears, her hopes, and her real feelings? Would she have told me? Probably not. Some things between parents and children are hard to discuss. Some things just stay unsaid. Even so, I wish there had been more time, but too little and too late. Time stops for no man, and time is so fleeting. But even with that being said, my mother was a saint, and she was very good to me. In the past, mothers stayed home, fathers worked, kids went to school, played tag, rolled dice, bicycles and played baseball, and that's what I did. It does not seem to be that way anymore. It is no longer 1947. If anyone deserves a medal, if anyone deserves praise, it is a woman. It is a mother. They are the ones who will go above and beyond. They are the ones who take care of the child with the earache, the mumps, the measles, and everything else. They are the ones who get stuck with the problem. No matter what, it's always the woman. The mothers, and no matter where in the world they may be, from Nova Scotia to California, and the alleys of Bombay, to the jungles of the Congo, and right here in Ajijic. I met a mother several months ago right here in the Plazuela. And I then wrote a poem story about her. I would like to share that story with you. A mother once young and proud, now a beggar. Silently, she walked up silently. She stands in front of me. She says not a word. She opens her hand. I reach for my change, and I place it in her hand. I say nothing. She says nothing. She slowly walks across the square, silently. Her shoes are black. Her socks are black. The skirt is brown. The blouse is light blue. Her hair is dark with streaks of gray. Her face is tired. Her life is tired. She is tired. To all you mothers, I salute you, and I salute my mother, Gerda Elizabeth Jakobsen Thorkildsen. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnt. And our other speakers too, Rosemary, Jeritza, and Michael. They gave us an awful lot to think about, and I hope this Mother's Day you'll be thinking about some of the things that they said. So that concludes our program today. Please turn your cell phones back on if you must. Pick up your coffee cups and stack the chairs. We thank you for coming. I almost forgot, our speaker next week is Kat Miller. She's going to speak about feelings, if I got that correctly, and I'm sorry if I didn't. Thank you very much for coming. Bye-bye.